Okay, so hello, church family. I'm Judith Roberts, and I'm the host tonight for our Wednesday night Oasis. And as you will be able to experience tonight, our Wednesday night service is a time when we come together to be spiritually refreshed between Sundays. Most Wednesday night services build upon the theme of the previous Sunday, expressing science of mind principles and practices with the intention that these gatherings are informal, intimate, and interactive. Our annual theme for 2025 is Rising Higher, Growing Deeper, and our monthly theme for April is Fertilizing Our Future. Last Sunday, Reverend Dr. Michelle Coleman introduced ideas inspired by the talk title Easter and Earth Day, Holistic Growth, No Quick Fixes. And tonight, our speaker is taking a little variation on that theme. Her talk tonight is titled Healing and Growing, Rinse and Repeat. That is her talk title, and it's sounds very interesting. Can't wait. So as we gather tonight, I really want to welcome you. If you're new to our community or watching our recording, please visit our homepage at www.oaklandcsl.org and click the I'm New icon and look at the lower left-hand corner of that page to submit your email address. Once you do, you'll begin receiving the village newsletter once a week on Thursdays in your email. It has all the information on what is happening at the center in the coming weeks. Before we get started with the talk, please mute your audio microphone during tonight's service. You can leave your camera on. When you mute your audio, it will improve the quality of our recording and tonight's transmission. Please stay tuned through the end of the service to receive special and important announcements. So I would now like to introduce our speaker, Gabriella Condi. Gabriella is a nature lover, an environmental sustainability nerd, an educator, an energy healer, a collage artist, a professional organizer, a morning dove doula, a swimmer, a hiker, a supportive daughter, and a doting aunt. So, Gabriella, thank you in advance for being our speaker tonight. As we do with every organized event at the center, we open with prayer. And Reverend Ikea has offered to do our prayer tonight. Reverend Ikea?
Everyone, center yourself the way you like to do and take a deep breath, remembering that God is breathing you. The all-powerful, all-loving, ever-present Spirit enlivens you and gives you every breath. I give thanks for the blessing of that life and for this gathering of people committed to seeing, knowing, and living the truth. And I give thanks for our wonderful speaker who is going to give us a new and fresh look that we can take through the rest of this day and until next week. That fresh look will be filled with spirit, filled with inspiration and delight. And I give thanks for it. I bless everyone who has come to this Wednesday Oasis service, knowing that they will benefit and be blessed by the experience. I give thanks for all of it and release my word. Please join me by anchoring the prayer by saying, and so it is.
And so
it is.
Thank you, Reverend Ikea. And now we will turn it over to Gabriella Condi.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for being here and participating tonight. My talk title is Healing and Growing, Rinse and Repeat. We've been talking about growth a lot this month, a befitting topic that reflects our current season of spring and all that is happening in the plant world around us. When I think of growth, I think of the process of healing. Growth to me is the phase after healing, when I can relate to the world around me with a new perspective and a greater amount of life force energy. I say a greater amount of life force energy because the way I look at our personal wounds is like this. Unhealed wounds are a frozen piece of life force energy. And when we process them and give them some loving attention or compassion, those parts of us get to defrost and loosen up. And as a result, we now can have a greater flow of energy moving through that part of us that was once frozen or blocked. The most common way that I do healing work these days is through the modality that I'm certified in, and that is called the emotion code. I basically identify trapped emotions in the body in my clients or in mine if I'm doing my own work, and we release them through breath. These emotions that were not fully processed from emotionally charged experience, that's what they're from. We have many ways that we numb or distract us from feeling hard, unpleasant emotions. But most of all, feelings do want to be acknowledged and felt, and so they can run their course and we can be done with them. Feelings often have wisdom to share with us, but if we don't stop and listen to them, how can we receive their message? So when we don't acknowledge them or listen to them fully, they can lodge in the body. Recently, I did some personal healing work on my 10 and 11-year-old self. I had been looking at some old confidence and self-esteem issues and some worthiness issues in regards to feeling empowered, feeling supported, and being able to keep up with work. And I was led to look at myself in 5th grade. I had some leftover emotional baggage from that time. I had changed schools in 5th grade, and even though I was, of course, my extroverted self, I didn't feel like I really fit in. It took me a while to make friends and feel comfortable with adults. I was not as comfortable as I had been in my previous school. I had a hard time keeping up with schoolwork. I had ADD. I acted out. I bullied a little bit. I rebelled in the classroom. I got kicked out. I got in trouble for some stuff. Coincidentally, some stuff was going on at my home, and I felt kind of lost and misunderstood at the time. And I didn't trust authority or necessarily get along well with authority. So my subconscious had somehow established the belief that I was a fuck up. Pardon my language, but that phrase really does encapsulate how I thought I was seen, and I couldn't think of something better. And so some hidden limiting beliefs developed from that time period, but they were also building off of earlier years, as that happens in childhood. And so speed up to today. Even if it's an old, outdated limiting belief, it can still play a role in our subconscious awareness. It is hidden in the background somewhere of our experience. Well, coincidentally, I now work at the school where I went to 5th grade. I moved there in November of this past year. And I've done healing work on myself from this time. I've done a lot of my own healing work, but like we're never really done, right? And I had released trapped emotions from that time. I had also apologized to the girl I bullied at my 20th high school reunion. I didn't get a chance to apologize to one of the boys, but I have revisited that time in my head. And when I do emotional release work on myself, coming into contact with trapped emotions also leads me into the memories and the context of when they emerged. I find that if you make contact with your emotional body, that contact is like a doorway into the details and overview of the past. in a more intimate way for me than just pure memory. Some people can ask themselves a question, oh, when did this happen? And I haven't always had luck that way. It's really more when I'm doing the emotional energetic piece that I can be brought into what needs to be looked at. It's almost like a veil is lifted when I'm doing that work and making that contact. So I already had a familiar understanding of all the disappointing things that were happening when I was 10 and 11. And so fast forward to about a month ago, I was at work and I heard that my 5th grade teacher was going to be substituting in one of the classrooms I occasionally help out in. And I felt myself get nervous. And the day came, and all morning long, I made sure I avoided her. I really didn't want to feel my nervousness. I realized I had some shame under my nervousness. And yes, I was in 5th grade many decades ago, but nevertheless. And wouldn't you know it, I was sitting in the staff room eating some lunch, and my 5th grade teacher, Mrs. Mack, came in to wash something at the sink. Spirit put her right in front of me, and I knew it. And I said, Mrs. Mack, you were my 5th grade teacher, and I know I was a difficult student to have, and I'm sorry. Full well knowing in my adult head what it takes for an educator to maintain structure in a classroom, but also understanding that my young self is having a simultaneous experience in this moment. So she walked over to me and she hugged me. And in her one warm hug, I let go of my shame, my unworthiness, my judgment of her, my young insecurities, and the recent nervousness tied up in avoiding her. I let all this old stuff go, and I held back the tears in her hug because I couldn't afford to lose it in the staff room. But I did go to the restroom afterwards and had a really good cry. And I felt free and renewed. And coincidentally, Mrs. Mack had brought some bags of flower seeds to give away. And I took 2 of them and I threw them down on some dirt later in the week. Somehow that felt really symbolic and timely to receive seeds from her. And now that the emotional piece of 5th grade is, I think, taken care of, I can feel the more open and lighter awareness that I carry, especially when I am in that building. Even though those wounds were playing a role in my subconscious, it didn't feel so subconscious when I was literally avoiding running into her. The substance in my unconscious had become conscious, and I had the opportunity to what I call transcend my shadow, bringing something that has a hidden influence out of hiding for the sake of transformation. Now that I've done that work and I'm in the integration phase of that work, walking around with more liberation and spaciousness in my awareness without the extra hidden limiting beliefs feels good. And this is where the growth phase of life is for me. It's in the integration phase after healing. One thing I like to do to honor when I've done some inner work is to let go of and when I'm letting go of things that are inside of me that no longer serve, is to clear something out from my outside environment or my surroundings that no longer serves. Last month, after I had that healing experience, I was reminded in an article that I was reading from the Power Path website. I recommend it. It's really good. Anyways, to fix anything broken in my life in honor of spring cleaning and feng shui. You can imagine the energetic influence our belongings have on us when they are broken. Well, I had collected a big butcher block cupboard last summer when I thought I might move to a new apartment where I would want a butcher block cupboard. It's a big kitchen, but it kind of needed some more counter space. My neighbor was moving out and she put one in the hallway for giveaway. And even though it looked pretty janky, I took it and put it in my basement storage unit. The cupboard door was missing a screw and was kind of hanging off the hinge, and it was pretty dirty, but I took it anyway. despite the fact that it needed some loving attention. Again, there's that loving attention. I stuffed it into my storage closet and said, I'll deal with it later. Well, in feng shui, storage represents the subconscious. Well, I had something taking up a lot of space that was broken in my subconscious storage. So after I had the recent teacher healing, I went to my storage closet and dragged that cupboard out into the driveway, and I scrubbed it with dish soap, got some new big sturdy screws, got my screwdriver and some crazy glue for the hinges, and fixed it up. I renewed it. Then I posted it on Facebook neighborhood buy nothing group and just gave it away to someone who really was excited about it. That's what I call blessed reuse, and that's a talk for another time. I wasn't using that thing, and it did not need to take up space in my storage as a broken piece of furniture. And it felt great. Clearing space inside me and clearing space on the outside of me feels really good. That's what contributes to my version of holistic growth. Robert Leeds mentioned habit stacking last week, where you attach a new habit you want to create to behavior you're already doing. Well, for me, all this clearing inside and out is kind of like my version of healing stacking. Why not? Purify on the inside as well as the outside. Fix what's broken or what feels broken. Michael Mead, who's an author and a mythologist, and he talks a lot about healing and sharing your genius with the world, says that once we've done our healing work on our wounds, they can become a womb for something new to birth and grow. He says we never really get rid of wounds, but we can take the toxicity out of them when we're doing our healing work. Healing means to make whole. So I see that work as, or wounds, as a piece of ourselves that may have been ostracized or frozen, but now can be integrated into the whole self. I think that might be what holism is. Instead of ignoring hard memories, we give them loving attention. There is strength, humility, and knowledge to be gained from working with the toxicity in our wounds. And that can contribute to the path of expressing our gifts. Sometimes pieces of our genius are found in that wound work. Now, I don't know what pieces of genius have been released yet from the story I just told you. It's just my most recent healing story I could draw upon. And the many tears that came after it told me it was significant. A lot of energy had moved. Forgiveness and freedom had resulted. I think I was closing a chapter of some long learning lessons there. What I know I gained was that I have more compassion for my young self that didn't think she was worthy of receiving support. I also have greater compassion for teachers for what they have to do to maintain their classroom during the day. I also learned that when you believe you are misunderstood all the time, you will manifest more experiences that make you feel misunderstood. And that was a familiar challenge to me. I want to share this other story with you because sometimes I can't quite figure out the medicine that I've gained from healing something, but this was a story that was so clear to me. During COVID, I was in an online class that supported people on the career paths, and I was in a cohort, and my classmate shared this story. He was a trans man and he was a clothing designer. And he said that when he was growing up in his female body, he didn't like the clothing choices he had. He never felt like he was fully expressed in his clothing. And his style was neither super feminine nor super masculine. And so he went to fashion school and learned to make his own wardrobe. And now he does that for himself and for a living for his clients. And I just felt like, wow, what a clear example of turning your wound into your medicine and what you offer. Sometimes it's not that clear, but that story just always stood out as such a clear example. So here I am in the new growth phase, I guess I could say, after some healing and renewal work. And I would say some new things are showing up in my life because there's some new extra space inside of me and around me. I definitely still have some decluttering work to do. I'm trying to grow 2 businesses right now, and I would say some opportunities for success have been showing up. I'm working on my affirmations and prayers. I'm definitely not meditating enough and listening. But I did get an interview request today, so that was kind of cool. So maybe there's more space for this stuff to show up. I'm not sure, but I'm feeling more confident, and that's a nice result. I'll say I like the confidence. So that concludes my talk, and I'm just going to move into some questions for you. And if anything strikes your fancy, feel free to raise your hand. Have you ever transcended a hidden belief? And it's hard because they're hidden, right? When people say unconscious, it's like, how do we know? But sometimes you can get a feel for the unconscious, or you know that you're looking at something in a way, through a perspective that could change, that could be more helpful, more empowering. Do you have a healing story you are comfortable sharing? Have you noticed any payoffs from healing work that you've already done? Or do you have any stories about using any genius that you gained from healing a wound? So I'm just going to open it up. And I can also write those in the chat. I think Deborah has her hand up. Hi, Deborah.
I do. First of all, I want to thank you, Gabriella, for such a powerful presentation and stories. And I want to say that our Dr. Dan group is forever and ever giving us things to think about. And one of the beautiful things we talked about today was where we were years ago and how much Science of Mind and Dr. Dan has been so profound in our growth, and how much of reading it every day and how much of us as a group have just transcended so many things in terms of our thinking, our being, as well as expressing, just from meeting every day and doing Dr. Dan, because the book is so powerful within itself. And I had personally explained to them that when I first came into religious science, and I really have to give religious science so much power for me, because it says change your thinking, change your life. And that's basically, when I came in, I was thinking spirit was outside of me. And because of religious science, I now know that all my answers, regardless to what they are, I can go inside first. And so that, to me, is one of the greatest examples I can give for you tonight in terms of religious science has been so profound in changing my thinking, changing my habits, changing my, even to the words of which I speak. I watch my words because I know now that words have power. And in the beginning, I didn't believe that. I didn't know. It wasn't that I didn't believe it. I didn't know it. Then I didn't believe it. And then I had to begin to utilize the thought to really pay some attention and watch myself change within the process. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you speak about all of these things, nothing comes clearly except all of these things within my science of mind practice has shifted from where I used to be and where I am now. Yeah.
Yeah.
All aspects of my life. And I'm complete.
Oh,
Thank you.
that's a wonderful overview of all the transformation you've had. Thank you. Reverend Ikea. Oh, you're muted.
When I first came to religious science and heard that change your thinking, change your life, I don't think I had been aware of my thinking
Uh-huh.
at all. It just was, it just went by. And so that was the first thing, was to notice this incredible, this incredible march. And then somebody suggested to me uh, whether that was my own original thought, whatever it was, or had somebody else said that to me, like you're talking about in fifth grade, all these things happened. So I'm sure a lot of things happened to me in fifth grade, or even before that, and they just became, I don't know, they became stuck in there. So once I realized, no, that really wasn't my idea. Then the next thing was, well, is it true? Is it helpful? And when I asked that question about the parade of thoughts going through my mind, I was able to pick some out and throw them away and replace them with something else. I don't know why, but I still have a box here that's telling me to unmute. Oh, there it is.
Oh, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Anyway, so that was a really big deal.
Yeah.
Coming to recognize my thoughts, realizing that they really weren't my thoughts. They maybe were something somebody else said, and they weren't necessarily true. And so why was I playing them over and over and over again? uh, I could change them. I could replace them with something else. That was revolutionary for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How helpful. Wow. That's
So I'm
great.
complete.
Thank you. Judith, you have your hand up. Oh, you're on mute.
Okay. Well, one thing that struck me about your talk was the physical uncluttering. I mean, working on the piece of furniture
Yeah.
and polishing it up and taking it out of the closet and fixing it up. Because I have learned that doing something to physically represent a shift is very powerful. To do a physical manifestation of it. And what I thought of just now when you asked your question, I just looked up and I saw this. I have this Balinese goddess hanging from the ceiling with her wings, her wings outstretched, and she's flying. And she is part of a final project I did for one of our classes. It was either practical mysticism or self-mastery. I don't remember which class it was, but we had to do a final project. And my project, what I did was I found a nest. I think it was like at Michael's. It was a nest with little eggs in it. And not a real nest, but a good representation of a nest with eggs in it. So I had that I made a mobile. So I had that on the bottom, and then in the middle was a young bird, a really like a baby bird. And then one level up from that was a full-grown bird. And then one level up from that was the flying goddess.
Oh,
So it represented, you know, birth, growth, and then full expansion into really into freedom. And recently I looked at that mobile, I think, and I think maybe part of it had fallen off, but I looked at what was still left and I thought, you know, the eggs have hatched and the baby has grown up. And the little bird, the adult bird, I took everything off and now I just have the flying goddess and she's still there because it represents my growth. And I'm
mm,
not saying I'm done. You know, I'm not saying I'm done, and I'm not saying like now I'm a completely free being. I know I have more to go, but I feel very free, and that
but
I'm looking up at her now, and she does represent um I think what I've become and also what I'm becoming. So,
yeah,
so the physical manifestation of our growth, I think, is really powerful and really important. And you reminded me of it with your talk.
great.
And I'm complete.
Make me want to pull something out in my environment about that I want to become. Thank you.
Mhm.
Eliza. Oh, yeah, you're getting there.
Oh, there we go. Sorry. I'm usually on the computer and I'm back on my iPad. So yeah, I loved your talk, by the way. Thank you so much. I could resonate with so much of it. I also had a difficult time at about that age for various reasons. And I and one of the things I wanted to say, like Judith, sometimes the working with the physical helps me to get at the hidden belief system, you know. And I was thinking about I had never heard this word before, but Reverend Sunshine said that she was a ritualist, and I've created different rituals, and you know, some of you may have heard this story before because I spoke about it on Wednesday night a long time ago, but I, I created a ritual for myself, and the outcome was really different. You know, I was releasing a boyfriend who had dumped me and forgiving him and just letting that go. And what happened was, I, at the end of the ritual, I had this thought to pray for the two people who had sexually assaulted me like years and years ago.
Mm,
And so I did that because I had never heard a voice like that before. So I thought I better obey. And
wow.
so I just had this long prayer about how wonderful their lives were and their relationships and their work and their hobbies and their families and everything. And but it, you know, I thought I was done, and yet it was beyond the forgiveness. It was also knowing the truth about them, that they were deserving of a wonderful life. And my knowing that allowed me to be more free. And it gave me
Mm,
this deep understanding of forgiveness that I still use that in my life because, you know, when I get mad at someone's behavior or I get mad at myself, I just go to forgiveness right away. And I often use that Hawaiian prayer, please forgive me for, like, if someone did something I don't like, please forgive me for judging you, you know,
mm,
thank you, I love you,
yeah.
or whatever, or even for myself, and it's just powerful, and it means I don't hang on to that stuff, for very long at all. So that's Mel. I'm complete.
Wow, that's a very powerful story, Eliza. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, wow. I love how the voice came in. That's really special. Lula, welcome, Lula.
Hi. Uh, well, I really enjoyed your talk, but before I can heal or forgive or grow, first I have to feel what I'm feeling. And that was a big step, is that to just sit with it for a while, to know what, to know what I'm feeling and and then ask the question, does this serve me or does it not serve me? But most of the times it does not serve me. Uh, and and then I ask, how do I let it go? And and when I ask these questions, if I stay with it and go through and follow what is downloaded, it it goes away. But what's interesting about your talk that really got me is that I was just thinking about maybe I've never gotten to the root cause when you say the things that are lodged in your body, because I've never thought too much about, I remember my childhood, but I have never, uh, and most of my childhood was okay. That's what that's what I remember. But, um, but it keeps coming up. So maybe I haven't got to the root cause sometimes. So that's what I want, that's what I'm going to try to work on. Because these things, I mean, and I believe that if it works in one case, it has to work in all cases. There's no exception. And so, and I think I am strong enough to handle what comes up. And if not, I am ready to release it, even if I'm not strong enough. I will find the strength. So that's what I'm going to be working on. I'm
It-
completely.
It sounds like you feel your feelings. I mean, you don't
Oh,
run from them. And
oh
that's
no.
and that's why they flow. They run their course because it sounds like you're really acknowledging them. So they don't necessarily need to get stuck if we're listening and we're acknowledging and we're paying attention. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Well, anything else? Well, thank you for joining us, everybody. I think we're complete. Judith, unless anyone has any last comments. Thank you for sharing such personal transformation stories. I appreciate that. And I'll hand it over to Judith. You're quiet.
Thank you. Thank you for that beautiful talk. Really touched me. And I think I may actually have some behavior changes as a result of this talk, because it really inspires me. I guess we will move into our announcements now, and we may end early tonight. We often run a little late, and tonight we may run a little early, which would just be a change. Okay, so our first announcement is that this Sunday, April 27th, Andy Robbins, practitioner emeritus, will be speaking on embracing the power of regenerativity. Meditation starts at 10, followed by service at 10:30. And yeah, that's it. That announcement I did a double take because there was a line that was repeated there. Okay. And then next Wednesday, April 30th, our own Reverend Ikea, who did our opening prayer this evening, will be speaking on the same topic, embracing the power of regenerativity. Meditation is at 6:30 and service is at 7 by Zoom, as it is tonight. So we'll look forward to that. April is Earth Month, honored in over 193 countries. We bless our earth and our environment. And join us after service next Sunday for our monthly community potluck and Bring a Friend Sunday. Board member Deborah Jackson, who is on our call tonight, is leading this project and is assembling a committee for setup and cleanup. Contact Deborah at deborah@oaklandcsl.org for more information. Thank you, Deborah. It's been a huge success so far. And the Diversity Circle will not be meeting on April 25th. This is usually a once a month circle, and this month is different. So just if you usually attend, just note that it's not happening on April 25th. And connect with others in oneness on Worldwide Labyrinth Day to celebrate world peace and the labyrinth experience. Join Eliza Young, practitioner who is also on our call tonight, on Saturday, May 3rd in our sanctuary. More details to follow. Thank you, Eliza. And
It's at 12:30 that we're meeting.
it's at 12:30.
Steve called me today, but I guess he didn't get it up there on the screen yet.
He didn't. No, so it's at 12.
So the idea is that oneness at 1. So it's at 1 o'clock everywhere in the world in a wave of moving meditation.
Oh, okay. So it's at 1 o'clock?
Well, we're going to meet at 12:30 and just check in and then begin walking it.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. Okay.
That is all for now.
Yeah. Okay, and the Social Justice Ministry presents Color of Fear movie viewing, a movie viewing and live discussion with Lee Moon Hwa, Sunday, May 4th from 1 to 4 p.m. in the sanctuary. Suggested love offering is between $10 and $30. Register at oaklandcsl.org/events. And I just want to add something here that years ago, I used to offer diversity training, and this was one of the movies we used. It's an old movie, but it's a timeless movie, and it's really good. It's really a powerful movie, but I have never heard him speak in person, so that's really going to be special to have the filmmaker there. Okay. And then join Brother Ishmael Tete live and in person at OCSL on May 7th for a special Wednesday midweek oasis. Love offering is requested. The event will be live streamed, and there will be a meditation at 5:30. The service will be 6 to 7:30. So the timing is a little different. And the other thing that's different is that this is a live Wednesday night event, and that he will be there speaking in person. So this will be a departure from our regular Wednesday nights. Sounds really interesting. Okay. And now we just want to give gratitude to the 2025 continuing OCSL Board of Trustees. Beth Van Arkel, President, Sam Ladion, Vice President, Elka Moritz, Treasurer, Nancy Hester, Secretary, Deborah Jackson, who's also with us tonight as a member, and Reverend Sunshine Michelle Coleman is a member and Senior Minister. So thank you to the Board of Directors. They work really hard, and they keep us afloat. They keep us running. So thank you. And then this, join the Peace of Mind Planning for an Elegant Exit class. This started last night. I attended, and I think Reverend Ikea may have attended, and it was really good. And I think probably you can still attend. There will be 3 more classes. And this says create an advanced directive that goes beyond medical wishes and also addresses personal, emotional, and spiritual needs. The cost is $125, and OCSL will receive $30 of that. So, and you can register, you can visit oaklandcsl.org/events to register. I took the class last night and I thought it was very good. So I'm going to give it a thumbs up and recommend that you join if you feel so inspired. Okay. So on June 20, let's see, not June 27th, May 17th, Susan Brecker and I are going to be offering a quick start class. And this is to learn more about science of mind. And it can be a refresher for somebody who's already in science of mind, or it can be an introduction to somebody who's just coming in and interested. It's kind of a basics class. It's a free class and is a requirement for the new membership class happening in early June. So hope to see you there.
Is there a sign up for it?
Oh, that's a good question.
I want to sign up.
Okay, let's
check the website.
It's probably on the website.
let's go on to the website and check, and if there isn't, I'll ask Steve to create one.
Thank you.
And this is Susan and I taught this once before. It's a redesigned, remodeled quick start class, and it was really fun. It was fun and it was engaging. So I think you'll enjoy it, and we'd love to have you. I'll talk to Steve about it tomorrow. Okay, and then we have save the date, join the fabulous Lisa Ferrero and accomplished Tammy Hall on Friday evening, June 27th. Time is still being confirmed for an OCSL 80th anniversary summer solstice concert. More information to follow, and the date has been changed from June 20th to June 27th. That's why it says new date. Okay.
Yay.
Yay. Happy 80th anniversary, Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. There will be an anniversary gala on September 20th of this year. And our nonprofit partner for March and April is the New Beginning Foundation, a nonprofit, non-medical addiction treatment facility with over 50 years of experience. Visit newbridgefoundation.org for more information. And the Spirit Treasure Bookstore in April receive a 30% discount on all things science of mind. And now I want to highlight our contact team. Reverend Dr. Sunshine Michelle Coleman is our spiritual director. Megan Lemon is our co-lead for the Ministry of Prayer. Maureen French is our co-lead for the Minister of Prayer, and she's also a ministerial student. Beth Van Arkel is our board president. Steve Carter is our operations coordinator. Susan Brecker is our facilities usage coordinator, and Dow Becker is our bookkeeper. So shout out to them and much gratitude to them for all that they do at our center. And now I would like you to say with me. You can either say it out loud, unmuted or muted. We're moving into our time of joyous giving. I freely give what I
have,
and the
divine source multiplies it in return.
And so it is.
So it is.
So it is. And so if you feel inspired to our center, you can go online to oaklandcsl.org, click on the donate button, the purple tile here, and you will be brought to a page where you will see many ways to donate. You can always write a check, you can Zelle, you can text to give, You can use the QR code. Of course, if you're in person, you can put something in the offering basket. Any and all contributions are gratefully accepted. So those are all of your different ways that you can do so. And now I want to thank everybody who's contributed to our program tonight. Of course, I want to thank our speaker, Gabriella Condi, who gave a beautiful talk. And also, Gabriella is going to offer our closing prayer. I want to thank all of the ministers who support us, including Reverend Ikea, who gave us our opening prayer, and Reverend Elena Hutchinson, who hosts this every other Wednesday night, and of course Michelle, Reverend Dr. Sunshine Michelle, our spiritual director, who is always she's the one inviting the speakers, and she's the one who's really overseeing our Wednesday nights. So I want to thank all of them. Want to thank Freddie Lambright III. Freddie is our AV person behind the scenes, who is running our PowerPoints, who is running the recording, who is spotlighting people, muting people. Freddie's just filling in as an interim person for the 3rd month and is doing a fabulous job. So I want to thank you, Freddie. And I think that is, oh, and Steve Carter, our operations administrator, he puts together our PowerPoints and gets all our documents ready for this evening. So let me see if there's anybody that I missed. I think that's everybody. So now I would like to turn it back over to Gabriella. And Gabriella, again, thank you for this really lovely talk. And really enjoyed it. And I'd like to offer it back to you for our closing prayer.
All right. Thank you, Judith. Thank you for all your support. Okay, so I just invite us to take a deep breath together, giving thanks for this moment right here and right now. There's one life. That life is good. That life is God. That life is my life right now. And in this awareness of the divine loving presence that is within me, all around me, and within all of you, we give thanks for our sweet and intimate time together tonight. I give thanks for all the help putting it together. I give thanks for Oakland Center for Spiritual Living and all the blessings it brings to our lives. And I'm knowing well-being for OCSL. I'm knowing abundance for OCSL. I'm knowing we are drawing all the people that are looking for what we have to offer, and we are enjoying that expansion as the community and the philosophy and all that it brings continues to nourish us and inspire us. I'm knowing peace and harmony for Oakland and our country and our planet, peace and harmony. And I give thanks for everyone's participation tonight. And I'm knowing a good restful night of sleep is enjoyed by all of us. And so I release my word and I let it be, giving thanks for all of these blessings. I close this prayer by saying, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you. And thank you also for leading the meditation tonight.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you, Judith, for all your enthusiasm.